Everyone wants to be number one, and colleges are no exception. Every year, over 1,400 schools contend for a coveted top-tier spot on the U.S. News National Universities list, each submitting copious data on their academics, campus life, demographics, and financial aid policies just for a chance at a good ranking. But despite valiant efforts from many top-tier schools, one university has reigned supreme for the past 8 years in a row. You've probably heard of it, with a name like Princeton. It's hard not to connect this school with its posh positioning on the ranking list. Hi, I'm Elias, and welcome back to College Vine. Today we'll be breaking down the kind of academics, testing, and extracurriculars you'll need to procure yourself a place at this preposterously prestigious school. Without further ado, let's take a look at Princeton's most recent admission statistics. This past year, Princeton saw more applicants than in any other year in its history. Over 37,000 students applied for admission to the class of 2025, representing a 12% increase from the previous year. And as you can imagine, the acceptance rate decreased accordingly, from 5.6% last year to slightly below 4% this year. This increase in selectivity isn't only due to the increased volume of applications, though. Not only did more students than ever apply last year, but also over 200 students formerly in the class of 2024 deferred their enrollment. Because these students ended up joining the 2025 class, there were 25% fewer spots in that class than in an ordinary year. While it is possible that the acceptance rate will bounce back up this admissions season, our guess is that it'll remain quite low. So, let's talk about how you can squeeze into Princeton's next freshman class. The first thing you'll need to worry about is academics. You can think of grades and test scores as representing a threshold you'll need to clear in order to have a decent chance of admission. If your transcript, SAT, or ACT scores are notably weaker than those of the average accepted student, you won't be automatically rejected, but your application will go towards the bottom of the pile and may never be fully considered. Okay, so what does a Princeton Ready profile look like in terms of academics? Well, the typical SAT score of all Princeton students lies between 1440 and 1570, while the typical ACT score lies between 32 and 35. The average unweighted high school GPA lies between a 3.78 and a 3.93. Keep in mind that students admitted to Princeton also usually take the most rigorous courses at their schools, whether those are AP, IB, or other enriched or honors classes. We know these are sobering statistics, but don't worry if you're not exactly within these ranges. COVID has really shaken things up in college admissions, so not all of these numbers are set in stone. For example, you may have heard that Princeton, like almost every other college, is test optional this year. What does that mean? Well, test optional means you don't have to send in an SAT or ACT score like you did in the past. Keep in mind, though, that students who do submit scores to test optional schools still tend to have better chances of admission, even if their scores lie on the lower end of a given spectrum. If you're close enough to the average range, it's definitely still worth it to shoot your shot and send in that score. Let's say you have the grades to be competitive with other Princeton applicants. Now what? Well, once you pass the academic threshold, the other main facet of your profile that serves to differentiate you from other students is your extracurricular resume. We know it may seem like you need to be an Olympian or a chess grandmaster just to get your foot in the door, but this isn't really the case. We at College Vine have devised a pretty simple way of crafting a solid extracurricular profile. For elite schools like Princeton, the most important thing you'll want is a spike. And a spike is basically an area in which you have some meaningful achievements and to which you have dedicated a significant amount of your time. Say your spike is playing a musical instrument, perhaps the cello. You don't need to have won a Grammy. Just playing various recitals and concerts, attending a good summer or pre-college program, and placing in or winning a local competition or two can be enough to show that you're both committed and also extremely talented. When admissions officers read your application, this focus on cello performance would help you stand out against other applicants. like a spike. Spikes stick out of things. And this spike would be useful for you regardless of your major. Having a spike in music performance could dramatically help your application, even if you were applying to pursue, say, political science or economics. It is still possible to get into Princeton as a well-rounded applicant without a spike. However, it is much harder to do it this way. Say you have your academics and your extracurriculars in order. Well, now it's time for everyone's favorite part of applications. You guessed it, the essays. You want to make sure these convey your personality in a profound way. They should help admissions officers understand who you are, what you value, how you've grown and developed during the past years, and how you respond in different types of situations. Your goal here is to build a connection with your admissions officers so that they like you and remember you. Princeton has 3 short essays, each about 150 to 250 words, as well as 3 short responses of just a few words each. Through your short essays, responses, and your personal statement, you should work to construct a cohesive narrative about yourself without repeating anything. Basically, you want your resulting portfolio of essays to be greater than the sum of its parts. Princeton also has a graded paper submission, and this is pretty unique. You'll need to choose a piece you've written for school. This should be an essay of 1 to 2 pages, preferably written for a class in English, history, or social studies. It must have your teacher's grade on it, and if your teacher left comments, you should submit those as well. Try to find some writing that makes you proud. For a step-by-step guide to tackling the Princeton essays, visit our blog post on it, which we've linked below. Essays aside, there is one final component of your application you'll need to consider. Like many elite schools, Princeton requires 2 letters of recommendation. Make sure you request these well before the deadline, and try to pick teachers who know you well. And that's it for your application. Just because you submitted, though, you might not be quite out of the woods yet. After you submit, you may be selected for an alumni interview. Because Princeton doesn't have an unlimited amount of interviewers, not every applicant is offered one. But if you are offered an interview, you should try to do it. This is a great chance to showcase your personality, ask some informed questions about Princeton, and show your interviewer exactly how passionate you are about attending this esteemed university. All right, say you do all of this. You submit excellent grades and test scores, you build a stellar extracurricular resume with a spike, you write beautiful essays, you send in terrific rec letters, and you ace your alumni interview. If you do it all, are you guaranteed a spot in Princeton's freshman class? Unfortunately, the answer is no. The fact that there are so many highly qualified applicants means that it often still boils down to luck. But if you follow all these guidelines, you can dramatically improve your chances at an acceptance. And that's it. Just about everything you need to know to apply to Princeton. We hope that this video has given you a better sense of the admissions process at this famed university. If you want to see your personal chance of an acceptance at Princeton, check out our free chancing engine at collegevine.com. And if you want more information on admissions, check out our many blog posts, live streams, communities, or any of our other college guidance resources at collegevine.com. Finally, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to keep up to date on all of our admission-related content. Best of luck. See you again next time.